What's up, everybody? FSC Trucking. New week this week. Well, it's over the weekend, so I got to get rolling. I already got preloaded the other day. Now we're got to go down to the yard, pick up our trailer. I just bobtailed up here because, well, I don't leave a car down at the yard. I probably should one day, but we need to get more stuff up and running. But with that, we're going to go ahead and fire up Orwell, get my luggage and stuff out of the Mercedes, and we got some stuff in the shop to show you. We also got a trunk full of stuff for the step deck trailer. So I'm going to get this fired up. Jen's going to get my baggage. I kicked the green APU on. Let's see if it'll start. I doubt it. Something must have got left on. I don't know if the battery died or what. Dead battery. I must have left something on. I unplugged the damn inverter. You know how much of a pain in the ass it is to hook up the battery charger to this thing? I'll leave that before. Okay, plan B. Alrighty, actually it's not as hard as it used to be. Used to be, unless you jacked up the cab, you couldn't get at the battery box, which is elevated behind the engine. So with the green APU there, obviously with a dead battery, it won't start. But there's power plugs on the back of the green APU that'll do good enough to get my big battery charger to start bringing up the batteries. And to be honest, if I can get the APU started, the APU will quickly charge the batteries as well. So let's just give that a try. Should be able to make that happen pretty quickly here. Getting under here used to be easier when the APU wasn't here. So these are the wires that hook up to the battery. Alrighty. Obviously that's the positive lug. And that's the negative lug. All right. That'll work. Plug it in over there between wherever is an open spot. All right, leave it on 30 amps. She's taking a charge. Throw it up to 60. Yeah, she's pulling a solid 20 amps. All right, I'm gonna have Jen crawl in and try to fire the APU with the charger on it, see what it does. Put it to 300 amps. Alrighty, success. You got the APU unit fired up. Now that'll bring up the battery, and eventually here we'll probably give it about a half hour or so. We'll get that Caterpillar running. It wasn't completely dead, but pretty dead. So it should work okay now. All right, so let me get the back jumper cables off there before we melt them on the exhaust. And we'll show you what we got going on in the shop. That's the other reason we brought Jen here and her car. Come on. That's good. All right, shut her down. So yesterday we went running around getting stuff. So we got stir sticks, grinding, or wire wheels, roll lock, grinding wheels, and moisture ball. Put them on a table by Chris's box. Oh yeah, and then we also got acetone. Put that over by Chris's box. Can you grab that too? And then I'm told 5 gallons. So right now we just got the primer. We're gonna run, obviously we're talking about the step deck here. We're gonna run Rust-Oleum paint, rusty metal primer, and then we're gonna go with another color. We'll talk about that in another video. Why are we going with Rust-Oleum? Well, to be honest, you can buy this same crap in a rattle can, spray can. So later on when you're doing some fixing, repairs, flip the trailer over once a year, spray it down, repaint, you just go back to your local hardware store and you buy Rust-Oleum paint. Listen, we're not trying to compete with the big show trucks that you see over at Matt's and stuff like that. We're basically trying to keep our stuff to last a little longer than the factory paint and not wreck all the work that we've done redoing this trailer. So hopefully end of this week, I'm thinking. Well, we'll go ahead and show you what Chris has gotten accomplished since then, but hopefully by end of this week we should at least have the primer on it. All right, we'll show you what got done with the step deck. Well, I've been running for the last 5-6 weeks solid. Chris has just been non-stop on this sucker. And believe it or not, he keeps finding problems and repairing them as he goes, which is really obviously helpful. So let me go ahead and show you what all he's done since we've last talked about it. So I don't know how well it shows up on camera with the door being open, but we're leaving these open for the time being because we've got something we're planning on doing with this. Put a big piece of plate steel as the bulkhead there. If you haven't noticed, I also had Chris install these center tie-down points. That way you could hook your chain. This way you could hook your chain right to this, and it's welded straight to a cross member. This is good for center tie-down points on these trailers. And when you're done with them, they go flush with the floor. So they're so every often, and then to make sure that the cross member, when you're pulling on it, doesn't try to twist, Chris also added some flat steel for bridging. That's the same material we use here for the tie-down points. So that's perfect. That's actually better than factory, because factory, they don't put that bridging. If you order a trailer with them, you don't get bridging. We do. Because, well, it's just a good idea we thought of. But yeah, there you go. Every so often, all the way back, straight to the back. There we are. So there's our trailer with all the cross members. This got all cleaned up and reset. Now notice it's got ramp pockets. Now I got these installed years ago when the trailer was probably like 3 or 4 years old. But when we redid the top deck, the bracket where those were welded onto had to be replaced. So we just cut them off and chucked them. So I wound up getting new ones here. These I just got in last week. So I probably should have ordered these earlier than last week, but they just got in on Friday. So Chris hasn't had the opportunity to weld them on. But those will go right here. That way you could drive a vehicle from the bottom deck up to the top deck with the ramps. That way you get a skid steer up here and they don't know how to take it off. You can drive it off them ramps. So obviously we still have the ramps. We still have the hangers on the bottom of the trailer. And that's that. What else does Chris have left to do? So light holes. They just cut the holes. I don't know how they did it factory, but they just cut the holes and then put the light in there with the rubber, just like the other trailer does. Now the other trailer, actually, and I think about it, the other trailer was converted over to this chrome style, and they look better and they work better, honestly, because sometimes if the holes are not perfect, they rattle out, you know, the pieces just rattle out of them. So what I went ahead and done is I got these pieces. The lights that I like, the Maximas, they snap into here really well. And this is what's on the RGN. So that, you could be pretty sloppy with the hole. So here like this, you could be pretty sloppy with the hole, but as long as this bolts in, it gives the appearance that these lights are harder to steal, plus also it looks better, not to mention they don't rattle out. So we have a lot more lights to put in. So this trailer had, I forget how many lights, but we decided we're gonna put a bunch of, not too many, but we're gonna add like chicken lights down the side with a bunch of these. And then of course, for the turn signal, there's one oval, just like on the RGN there, there's one of these that'll go about midpoint. That's, you know, your turn signal and your running light. So these I bought as the template. Obviously we got to get more of them. This way Chris knows how big to cut the hole, and we've already figured out and marked where the holes will be cut. So that's the idea. So it's gonna look badass. It's just we got to get to that point. So Chris will finish up this trailer this week and should be ready for paint. And once it's painted and out the door, that's when we start bringing Elaine in here. Elaine has a clutch that's on, right now it's on order. I'm getting it from Badger. We are probably going to just put a clutch in it, retain the old transmission for the time being. This way that'll at least start, run, drive, and be out of our way so we can start working on the rest of the stuff. Hopefully when we do finally hire a driver to put in that truck, we'll be able to just basically jump right into it. Maybe he'll run a 9-speed for a while before we change it over, I'm not sure. But we're just gonna put that transmission back in, see what it does. The plan is eventually put a 13-speed in it because it's not a very powerful engine, but it will be, you know, powerful enough. Look, Orwell's 400 horsepower, and I pull 93,000 pounds with it going up hills of Pennsylvania, and it gets the job done. It's just a lot easier with a 13-speed. So if we don't have the big powerful engine, you definitely want a 13-speed. So with that, we're gonna eventually change it. But for the time being, we'll just put the clutch. As for the Ford behind me, got the email from Joe over at Vicon. Frame's done, ready to go. I just got to get out there and pick it up and bring it home. And then we'll start on that too. So ultimately, once this trailer's painted outside, we're going to start jumping on Elaine and jumping on this Ford because there's plenty of room in this bay to get two of them done. Also, we're going to start transitioning some work to finish that upper fifth wheel plate and to get the cross members replaced. To be honest, that's just a big space hog, and I'd love to get that trailer out of here. So at least get it to where it's portable safely. We don't have to worry about collapsing on itself or causing a crash, and then get it out of here. And then, well, I don't know. Some of me wants to have it ready by spring. Some of me says, man, you're insane if you try. I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have to see how things play out. We got all winter to figure things out. Hopefully the channel continues to grow. If it doesn't grow, then we get stagnant. I'm really trying hard to push more content. This thing is like impossible to monetize and get content out of it, but for the trucking side, we damn sure need it. So this will go good behind Elaine, or we'll keep pulling the RGN when we start, when we eventually hire a driver for Elaine, which we are gonna have to start looking into hiring a driver for that truck. Probably gonna just be pulling a step deck at first and then RGNs when I'm not on a road. That's basically my thought as of right now. Think about it, we got 4 trucks total, 2 that run and only 1's on the road and safe to drive, so. We definitely got a lot more work to do. And hopefully you guys are liking the content more than just me driving Orwell, because we're really trying to build and grow this channel. And to be honest, the bigger the channel grows, the more views, the more subscribers, all of that, the more we can get done. So please like and share. So please like and share the video. I know I don't ask for that because it feels like a douchebag thing to do, but if we want to grow, we want to get bigger, we need that. So please push the channel, like it, subscribe to it, all that kind of fun stuff, share it, tell your friends about it. We are for sure growing. Hopefully you guys will see that. With that, let me let the green APU chew on the battery a little bit. I was thinking about it. I'm a little concerned because I never found anything I left on. So once we start it, we do need to volt test it and see if we even have an alternator. It's possible it Well, that doesn't make sense. It started up good. Something had to be left on. It started up good. What's the story behind that? We'll talk about it. So the more I think about it, what was it, Friday when we left, Chris got done working on the trailer. I dropped off them brackets, and then I asked him last minute to go ahead and change out the fuel filters on Orwell. He then changed the filters and then fired the truck up, and it fired right up, didn't give me a lick of trouble. So now I'm like, what happened since then and now? I'm guessing we left something on, because if it wasn't going to start, it wouldn't have started Friday. It came right up like there was never an issue. And now here we are, and it's not starting. So something changed between then and now, and I don't know what it was. But I didn't find any lights left on inside. So I don't know, maybe I left the headlights on or something. I gotta go look. But I don't know. When I get it fired up, I'm gonna shut the APU down, and I'm gonna put a voltmeter on it and make sure we got, you know, a charging alternator. I don't know, we'll find out here shortly. Well, that's what I'm thinking about. So that's how we're gonna diagnose that. Yes, I know my amp meter and my voltmeter don't work in the dash. I know, I gotta get to it. We gotta get to a bunch of other stuff too. So look, that's not really a big issue. It's kind of creating one now, but I have a multimeter. We can figure it out. So with that, let me go ahead and give it a shot, see what it does. All right, let's go ahead and try. I'm gonna leave the APU run. I'm gonna try to get the truck started. Then we're gonna let it run, air up. I'm gonna pull it up to the shop. Then we're gonna check voltage, make damn sure I actually have an alternator. If possible, I don't. Wondering what happened. Well, come on over to the shop, I'll explain it. You're probably wondering why Orwell wouldn't start but then did start. Well, here's the story with that. First of all, the green APU is electronic, and it requires a minimum amount of battery power, not only to maintain running, but also to start. If your batteries are very, very weak or low, Orwell will start first. The green APU will not start. We had that happen when we installed the green APU. My batteries were strong enough to get Orwell to fire, but not strong enough to get the APU to fire. Once the APU's fired up, we were good to go. Wound up putting a new set of batteries in it back when we had the APU installed. Never happened again. So now here we are a handful of years later, almost 2, I think, or a little after 2. Batteries, well, I guess it's possible batteries are shot, not sure. Either way, it did come up some with the APU running, but not enough to get the engine started the way I normally start it. Now, if you look at videos past, you'll see when Chris starts the truck, it comes right to life as soon as he hits the starter. With me, I spin the engine over and then it starts. What's the difference? Well, when I first tried to start it my way, I don't start touching the throttle until after the engine's spinning, getting the oil moving before it cracks right to life. When you're trying to hit the starter against a dead set of batteries or a low, weak set of batteries, it pulls the voltage right down, and the green APU is like, F this, I'm out. Doesn't have enough power to run. So the APU died. But I figured there's enough to get the engine to rotate over a little bit, and a little bit, and then a little bit, but not enough to get it cranking. So I said, okay, let me do it like Chris does. Pat the throttle, then hit the key. Boom, came right to life. So now, the big alternator, the one on the engine, is running the engine right now. So, right before I got out of the truck, I turned the headlights on, I turned the high beam lights on, I turned the strobes on, I turned the fan on high on the inside. I'm putting a load on the truck. I want to see if it will, one, stay running. Now that engine is a mechanical engine, but there is a solenoid, an electric solenoid, that's the fuel shutoff. When it loses battery and there's no power, the fuel shutoff turns the engine off by cutting its fuel. Now, we're gonna go ahead and move Jen's car, pull Orwell up on the apron. That way it's easier to get under the truck. I'm gonna volt check underneath the truck, right at the APU, to make sure that we are actually charging our batteries with the primary alternator. If it is, then we're good to go, and I just have to figure out why I have a weak battery, or why I have a weak alternator or something. I don't know yet. We'll pull it up, we'll figure it out. It's very possible that I lost the battery. That'll have to be dealt with here in the future, probably when I get back. So with that, babe, can you move the car and I'll pull the truck up? Thank you. Just park next to the Orwell. Alright, so the voltage is 13.3, so the alternator is in fact charging. That's with everything turned on. Strobes, lights, high beams, everything. So we are charging. The APU charges, the alternator charges. I just haven't figured out what happened yet, but we gotta go. We're under a load, so we really don't have time to fiddle fart around with it. So I guess what I'll do is, when I shut it off, I'll turn the green APU on first, then I'll shut it off, and then it'll sit for, overnight, a long period of time. It should kick right over. If we got a bad battery, then it's a service call to get a jump start. What else do you do? All right, everybody, we made it over to the yard. Still got Orwell running. I'm not quite ready to test my luck and shut it down and see if she'll refire. Like I said, we'll fire the green APU before I shut the engine off, and then try to reverse the process with warm batteries that have been charging for like forever. Hopefully it'll work out okay. Either way, here's our load. Got light towers. Got this big, really big generator. We had to back into the building and have this set down by a crane. That's going to Waterbury, Connecticut. Then they got a little bitty trailer mount generator on the back of the trailer. So we got first stop Syracuse, New York, then Vestal, New York, and then Tuesday we get rid of the big, large unit right there. Alrighty, we're good to go. Let's get the show on the road. Took care of all my paperwork, dropped off paperwork, logbook caught up, good to go. Trying a different position of the B cam, forward facing, so you get a real good look right over the truck. It's pretty tall, and best we can do with the situation I have at the moment. I'll try to figure out how to redo it in the future. Hopefully it'll come out nice. We're gonna leave here. We're gonna go right down to Ridgefield, the Quick Trip, get some something to eat. I don't know what I'll have available, but get something and get down the road. So we definitely need fuel. Or down the bottom of the tank. We need fuel. nice quiet ride.
Elaine home from Michigan. So it kind of worked out weird. Picked it up Sunday in Michigan, got back here Monday, unloaded it, I guess it was Monday, and I guess we loaded this Thursday, I think. It's just a busy week. I didn't drive. You know, it wasn't trucking. But it certainly was a busy week. Got a lot of computer work done. Had some issues with computers I had to deal with. My laptop stored SD cards into a portable hard drive. And then it couldn't find it afterwards. My home computer couldn't find it. I had to find them. I knew they were in there. So I'm just going to give them a mention because they saved my ass. The program I use is called Test Disk. T-E-S-T-B-I-S-K. You put it on the drive that you want to put recovered information from, and it goes through that drive sector by sector and puts everything on that drive that you put test disk on. So you don't put it on the disk that you're running the recovery on, you put it on the disk. Now I was doing it on like a 4 or 5 terabyte portable hard drive. So I put the program in a 4 terabyte hard drive and had to check another one, and it worked for 24 hours. But it finds everything. It finds the stuff that you knew was there. It finds the stuff you didn't know was on there. But it took my computer a full 24 hours to run every single sector in that disk. But it found the 3 cards of information that I lost, or rather it lost. Even still, I managed to keep up this week with editing, and was in and out of the shop, handled a bunch of stuff with Chris on the step deck trailer, working with Elaine, figuring out what's going to happen with that truck. But this is the first load I took since we brought it home. Obviously, I released a video a while ago, which actually, at the time I'm filming this, Sunday, September 29th, that video about Elaine ought to come out in literally a couple hours. So usually when big stuff happens, I skip ahead and get right to it. Then we get back to older content eventually. I still have content I haven't edited. It goes back to before us putting the aluminum wheels on Orwell. Back around, matter of fact, right before Mid-America Trucking Show. I did 2 round trips to Texas. I filmed them both. I just never edited them. Never got to it, but I still got them. So we're doing what we can. I'm not happy that we had this late start with Orwell having a dead battery and dealing with that, but we're up and running, so I guess we're okay. Make it out there, like I said, Monday, get both stops off. Syracuse and Vestal, they're not that, I think like an hour and a half apart from one another. We'll be able to kick them off tomorrow. Big Connecticut, that big unit goes to Connecticut, that comes off Tuesday morning, early. Hopefully all day Monday they'll have to find a load back. I can get a load right back, and hopefully I'll be, honestly what I'm hoping for is get back into the week and turn and burn for another somewhere, somehow. Run fresh fuel filters, so we're going to be able to do 2 more rounds. Now Friday, I probably should have filmed it, but Friday, Chris changed the fuel filters, and we were talking about what the problem is and why I continue to do 2 rounds. Effectively, every 4,000 to 5,000 miles we change fuel filters. Chris thinks that's an awful lot, but there was a point where you had no choice. So we're debating on how we're going to handle that. I guess we'll deal with that in the future. Chris and I were talking about how to stretch them out. We're thinking about cutting the filters open and we took off and see how bad they are. I personally think the truck had an algae plume, which is probably done and gone by now. Algae in the fuel, that became a thing when the geniuses decided to not make diesel fuel out of oil. Now they're trying to make it out of soybeans, which is organic. Hence algae can grow on organic. And now we get algae in our diesel. Biofuel might be burnable, but nobody said it was any good. Either way, we have to figure out. Chris thinks we can solve the problem. We're changing filters a lot. It might save a little bit of money. And right now, if you can save a little, it would help. Lord knows we've been struggling hard, so I've been running really, really hard recently. If I'm going to run at the frequency we are, it'd be definitely good to be able to go into another truck while Chris goes through Orwell. Because right now we got problems like this. I mean, think about it. If I had another truck that was against the fence ready to roll, I'd have just left Orwell behind and fired up another truck and went. Like if Elaine was ready to go, I'd have left Orwell behind and taken Elaine on this trip last minute, change of mind. But we don't have that right now. But that's what I'm trying to build up toward, and that's what I was talking about earlier, where I'm like, I need to ask for a little bit of additional support to go on your social media and share these videos and try to get more people that don't know about this channel to know about it. I mean, let's be honest, I don't add drama to the channel. Something my way of titling things or some thumbnails might be a little clickbaity. I don't think it is if it actually happens. But it's the real way of driving truck. It's the running the old trucks and the problems. I put up the cameras. I had no idea. I was planning on just firing up the truck, doing a montage maybe with a music bed, and Jen handed me my luggage and my computer tote. I have a Tupperware tote with my computer gear in it. And then we were just gonna show off the work that Chris did on the trailer and what we were planning on, and that was it. I turned the key and I'm like, okay, we have content. Wasn't planning on it. Like, I know some people are like, oh, you knew the truck wasn't gonna start, so you set the camera up. No, I honestly, I thought it was going to crack the life like it always does and put the bag in and go. I thought more of the content would be of the hauling, the hooking up with a trailer. Didn't play out that way. So now I guess it's the drama of worrying about whether my batteries will refire the engine later on. I think we'll be all right. We have to make this turn before we get the truck home and start messing with it. So I'm not 100% convinced that it's not a problem. I did not find a map light left on. All the lights in the sleeper were off. This here was unplugged. My little inverter right here for my battery chargers. The inverter isn't even hooked up. Why did the truck not start? And it still had 13.3, 13.4 volts at the battery with the engine running, with all the lights on, strobes, blower motor, everything. So it didn't collapse the charging system. I think we have a battery that's just a boat anchor. Deal with that when we get there, right? But I'm trying hard to make better choices. You see, what works on YouTube doesn't necessarily work for a trucking company. Drama is good for views. It's not good for trucking. the channel's performance while not making drama to where it's manufactured fake drama, but yet show the trucking life, the way we do it.